I think we got everybody here that needs to be here at the beginning of your first inaugural. I guess that's redundant. But anyway, the first time we're ever bringing you the Isms 2022, your favorite not woke award show, not brought to you by Pfizer, the only award show brought to you by somebody else besides Pfizer. So welcome. We have Clyde Do Something and Larry Sharp as our presenters, and of course Bill Doris, my co-host for Tittle Tattle, which is an exclusive supporter-only show that we do every week on ROKFIN, Patreon, and local. So don't forget to sign up over there. Okay, so since we're kind of flying as a debut here, we're going to ask for some patience here, but also some audience participation. We are currently live on Rumble, ROKFIN, and YouTube, so hope to see you on one of those platforms. The first one we are going to share, and I should say we put these up on Locals a week ago for people to submit ideas for the categories. So if you're not on Locals, you got to get over to AllisonMorrow.locals.com. You could have submitted for the finalists, and then you in the chat, at least if everybody behaves themselves, we'll see how it goes. We're going to let you choose the winner, okay? And here's how you choose. The hashtag to be put in the raffle, in the digital raffle, is hashtag fake news. So what's going to happen is we're going to have the presenter tell you the award category. If you would like to, after hearing the finalists, submit for a winner, you just have to write hashtag fake news in the chat. If you're on YouTube, that's where it's working, okay? On YouTube, hashtag fake news. It's going to tabulate the winner, and then you get to decide. Okay, we're going to try it. If it turns out to be a complete bust, then we're just going to pick. We're going to pick with our hearts, our well-meaning hearts. So the first video that I want to share here is Felix Montano, a Hollywood, I would say he rejected them. So he's not a Hollywood reject. He's a Hollywood what? Asylum seeker?
He was the sexiest man in Hollywood until he got wise and left Hollywood. So now we'll call him the King of South Beach.
Oh, okay. I like that. The King of South Beach. So he's in front of a red curtain. I mean, it really doesn't get any more professional than this. As Clyde says here, he also put on a suit for this, even though it's covering his face when I put the chat up. Larry, you haven't worn a tie, ever until now?
Last time I wore a tie was 2013, but I put one on for you.
And I'm wearing a dress, which I haven't done in a long time either. Which you can't tell, but let's just pretend you can see. All right. Felix's category was the Get Woke, Go Broke.
Yeah,
right?
Go Woke, Go Broke award.
Okay, let's see what he has to say here. Let me know if you can hear it.
Thank you, Allison. Hi, I'm here to present the Wokest, Go Brokest award, or whatever we're calling it, for the first annual Alley Awards, like Oscar. But Alley, get it? And this award goes to the wokest that went the most brokest company, corporation, or other idiot entity that was pandering to the radical left. And the nominees are Disney, CNN, Netflix, ESPN, Hollywood generally, Target, and Balenciaga. And the envelope, the winner, because we're capitalists and we're not woke, so yes, you are a winner or a loser in our world.
Shuffle, shuffle. All right, now pick one piece of paper. Pick one piece of paper and show it to mommy. Whoops.
Netflix. Oh, thank
Netflix.
you. Good night.
Okay, as you see, the producer chose that one because Felix is at his new gig in Miami, and so he was not able to join us live. So the producer picked Netflix. Did you all have any favorites that you feel like should have won other than Netflix? Did you hear the finalists? You want me to pull them up again?
Well, I thought Disney was a front runner there for
I was hoping Disney too. I'm with you, Clyde. I was hoping Disney. They took Star Wars, so take a punch in the face. That's what I'm saying.
I would call this a mild upset. I'm with the consensus that Disney maybe should have gotten the award, but like every award show, you're going to have those that get snubbed. But Netflix was not undeserving.
Yes. Well, Netflix is going broke. Like, they are in trouble. Disney is still somehow floating. They just keep throwing up some kind of princess and they'll be fine. but Netflix is actually having a lot of problems. They are actually in trouble.
I think
Balenciaga will come back.
I think Netflix lost probably the biggest market share out of their own company, what market share that they did have for this year.
Yep.
I know that Disney lost the most market share in my household. That was for sure. Netflix, they lost me years ago. I mean, I think they lost me with the Cuties saga that they were unapologetic for. So they lost me in previous years. I think this year Disney took the cake.
Netflix made the big mistake. It was like doing so great. It decided it could make anything, and then it made garbage. And we said, well, we'll go someplace else.
I brought in 2 more presenters. We've got Christina. She writes under the pen name Radix Verum on Substack. She's going to be presenting which category? The real-time cover-ups, I think.
Yeah.
Okay. And then Matt's got biggest fake news.
Whoa,
right, Matt? Matt Orvilla.
I think you doubled this up. I think you had me as the real-time cover-ups.
Oh, no. Did I? I thought I had you as Oh, wait. No.
Wait,
we'll go back and check. I'll go back and check. Let's go to Larry while I check.
think I have biggest story that the mainstream media didn't cover.
Good.
But should have.
There we go.
But
Okay,
should
we go.
have.
Okay. All right. Larry, what's your first category that you're going to share with us?
I am so happy to be here with the Isms, giving out an Alley Award. So happy to be here. So thank you for that. And I do want to say that we're going to be talking about the media. And we're talking about the category right now is the story that just will not die. And the nominees are 1, January 6th. 2, gender. 3, COVID. 4, Brittany Griner. And 5, Russia versus Ukraine. So right now you should be voting right now in the chat. Allison, you want to give them the rules again?
Yes, I would like to remind everybody, here you see the story that just will not die with the finalists in the 1 through 5 there that Larry just read. And in order to choose the winner, you have to put hashtag fake news in the chat. So let's start seeing some people put in hashtag fake news. Hashtag fake news. Let's start seeing some of them if you want to be chosen for winner. Okay, but don't put hashtag. Okay, this is just an example. This is good that we're going over this. This is what not to do. Do not put hashtag fake news dash something. And then also Russia spelled with an I, but which I'm sure you knew. But that doesn't matter. What matters is that you spell fake news right. So you just have to put hashtag fake news. That's it. Don't put your answer. Just put hashtag fake news. And then when we run through the raffle, and if you're selected, that's when you comment your decision. Okay, not fake news 1. This is okay, and not I do not nominate doesn't help. So
Anonymous is trying to talk some trash about my bow tie. Anonymous, you are jealous because I look so good. So I've got a cool bow tie and you don't, Mr. Anonymous.
And
Or
that's
Ms.
okay,
not
Anonymous.
You have that. You do have that.
Neo-feudalist
There you
pugilist.
go.
It's been good, my man.
Neo-feudalist pugilist gets it. All right, this is how we do it. Fake news, okay? KM's got it right here, fake news. All right, so what happens then is if this is gonna work for us, okay, we're gonna share this, okay? So what I should be doing is clicking draw, see? And
So cool.
it's gonna be Kip. All right, Kip. So you get to win. All right, Kip. Kip Beckford is the one who gets to choose. Kip, what's your win? Let's go back to the finalists. All right, let's go back. Hang on.
So Kip, you can pick January 6th. You can pick gender. You can pick COVID. You can pick Brittany Griner, or you can pick Russia versus Ukraine.
Let's see. Kip, we're waiting for you in the chat.
Come on, Kip.
This is where we need Clyde to play us something on his piano.
I need to get in there and just play some.
Can somebody cue up the Jeopardy music?
Yes, there we go.
That's what I really need to
There we
do.
go.
I am going to go back to. Let's
Okay.
see,
While we're waiting
Yeah.
on him for that. Okay. I don't know what you all are hating for with the bow ties. I mean, me and Larry, I don't care. We look awesome. We look amazing.
do.
We even look sharp, if you will. And if you're
Yes,
hating on,
with an E. We
That's
do.
right.
We look sharp with an E.
So if you're
Yes, we
hating
do.
on the bow ties, that is a you problem. Reevaluate your life. Okay.
It's true.
Yeah,
Kid-
but you guys are forgetting your baseball caps, like me and Clyde.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
You got to suit it up, no tie, baseball cap. There it is.
Well,
Yeah.
I'd go grab mine, but the producer said I'm
Here
glued to
it
my
is.
chair.
Here's the
Wrestling
win,
versus-
Larry. Here's the win.
And the winner is Russia versus Ukraine. Thank you so much, all our nominees. Please don't be a hater. Please accept that Russia versus Ukraine is the winner, and all of you are simply not as cool. Thank you so much.
they were
And
all
there is-
very good ones, though. They were all very
Yes.
good ones. I mean,
And there is
Here
your
we
alley.
go.
I'm Canadian, and the Jan 6th thing keeps getting brought up in our parliament as if it was an event that happened here, and being
Yes.
compared to protests that happened here. It was the runner-up, or what would be the participation awards of all insurrections in quote unquotes.
Jeez.
Ridiculous news story. That one.
Well,
for sure.
if you watch Fox News, it didn't happen. If you watch MSNBC, it's the
Yeah.
most important thing ever. Nothing's more important. It's like 9/11 times 1,000. So you get those two sides. Didn't happen. 9/11 times 1,000. That's it.
Unreal. Yeah, and if you speak out against the Russia-Ukraine thing, you're carrying water for Putin. Apparently, I've always come from the anti-war side of things. I'm against wars in general, unless they're aggressed upon you and you're
Weirdo.
defending yourself.
Don't like wars.
Yeah.
This guy.
So,
doesn't like
yeah,
wars.
no, but because I don't like war, I'm a Putin supporter. Apparently, that's
wrong
This
with you?
hippie here. Look at this hippie.
Yeah,
How
hippie,
are we
hippie,
supposed to
Canadian.
build
Look at that.
bombs if we don't have wars?
Well, there you go.
Right?
The economy's
Like
trash if
25,
people aren't being
when we
blown
don't
up.
have
over it.
wars. God.
Shall
You
we
know,
go
you
to
don't
the
think
next
about military
category?
Contractors at all, Clyde.
Yes.
See how selfish you are?
Think of their families.
Think of their families. God.
The
I
producer's
mean, they
the
live in their third and fourth
producer
house. What's wrong
the
with you?
producer's throwing up the red light. Time to move on.
Oh, sorry. Clyde got me
Okay,
going.
let's
I'm sorry,
go
Clyde.
Let's go to Clyde's real-time cover-ups, right, Clyde?
All right, real-time cover-up. So we have
Please read it for
this
us.
year, this in 2022.
Oh, and
the
Clyde,
real-time-
hang on. As Clyde is reading, if you would like to submit a winner for this category, as he's reading, please start in the chat on YouTube. Start your hashtag fake news. Hashtag fake news. Okay,
Hashtag
go ahead, Clyde.
Fake
Take it away.
news. Get into that. So the real-time cover-ups of 2022. Number one, the Pelosi attack. We have two, COVID vaccine injuries, or another runner-up, Nord Stream pipeline bombing. We have the Russia-Ukraine war once again, looking to get more awards this year for their thing. Snake Island, Ukraine chopper shoot down. We have the Epstein list, and of course, the Hunter Biden laptop, not Russian disinformation after all.
Christina, you're showing us again though how not to do this. She wants Epstein, but
I've never did it.
don't put the name of your winner in it. Just put
Oh,
fake
no.
news. Hashtag fake news.
That's
it's hard
I
even
was
for the
teaching you guys what not to do, you know.
Thank
Yes.
you, Christina.
Okay, see, we've got some good. This one, don't put a space in between fake news. Put them together like this. James gets it. Hashtag
James.
fake news. All right,
James
we're gonna.
gets it.
I'll wait 10
Oh my
more
God,
seconds.
the Twitter files. How about that? That should have made the list.
Oh, yeah.
I nominate that
Wow.
one for the last category.
Files.
Okay,
Right?
Matt
No,
nominates
they're
it
not
last
covering
minute.
that. No one's
But
covering
wait.
that.
Well, that's not fake news. I thought that was real news.
Oh, wait.
But this
was
is a
the-
real-time cover-up. We're doing
Real-time
real-time
Right,
cover-ups.
right, right.
Cover-ups.
Okay.
So I think it's fair to say that there is a cover-up in the mainstream media of the Twitter files.
Okay.
Okay, that's fair.
That is
I
fair.
think Whitmer. We did have Whitmer kidnapping, but I believe that is a finalist for fake news.
Well, is that not what we're on?
No, we're on real-time cover-ups.
Oh.
Real-time cover-ups.
I'm so confused.
So this would be like a real story that the media and other special interests tried to keep you from seeing, or purposely did not cover, or and the fake news would be like they spun it, so it wasn't real.
Yeah, the
Does that make
cover up
sense?
being that they tried to squash this.
Bill, you made these categories, though.
What? You don't know what's going on. Nothing's happening
Wait,
here.
hold on.
Nothing to see here.
I do not remember this.
You made these categories, so
She made them, Bill. Now she's blaming you. That's how
I
it
know.
works. It's the Views
That's
is
how
both
good
fault.
work.
According to
That's
my
good.
according
So
to
good.
my records, I got biggest fake news story of the year.
Okay.
But all right, let's pick a
that-
winner.
Let's go back. I'm going to pull up the giveaway tool, draw again. Here we go. Who's it going to be? No!
Whoa!
Oh, wow.
Rigged!
It's rigged.
Like every other award show, this is rigged.
Rigged. Rigged.
Like every other award show, this is rigged.
Okay, we got a new
we
one.
got
Kenneth
Kenneth.
Ustrin. Okay, Kenneth, now this is your chance. You got to put in the chat who you would like to win. Let's go back one more time just so we can clarify again what we're talking about here. So here we have, Clyde, would you like to read them one more time?
Yeah, sure. We have the Pelosi attack. That was Pelosi's husband, not Pelosi herself. COVID vaccine injuries, Nord Stream pipeline bombing, Russia-Ukraine war, Snake Island Ukraine chopper shoot down, the Epstein list, and the Hunter Biden laptop. Not Russian disinformation after all.
This show is so getting demonetized.
Oh yeah, oh
It's
yeah.
all the keywords.
100%.
To clarify,
Yeah, but you hit every single keyword to be demonetized, like every one of them. Yes.
Well, while we're
All right,
while we're waiting for Kenneth, Matt, who do you hope wins this one?
well, I wanted to first clarify that the Nord Stream pipeline, that story being covered up, it would be the fact that there's no evidence that it's Russia. That's the cover up.
Okay.
Of that story, because they covered that story, but in a way.
Oh,
totally fake.
Kenneth picks.
But you asked me. I say the Hunter Biden laptop, the story that
There-
is
there you
actually
go.
real. I don't think that got enough attention. That would.
Very good.
Yep.
So you guys agree.
Oh,
Matt
all right,
agrees with Kenneth.
Kenneth.
Kenneth
All right,
picked
we're in sync, Kenneth.
Yeah.
Hunter laptop.
Here we go.
the Hunter Biden laptop, because this, I mean, granted, the story itself started back in 2020, but
That's
this
right.
was the
Very-
year.
Yeah.
This was the year that it was like, sorry, haha, it actually wasn't Russian disinformation. Because remember, like, it wasn't the CIA agents, the former CIA people, directors or intel directors that were all wrote that letter. It was signed by like 20 something or 200, some ridiculous number, and they're like, it has all the telltale signs of Russian disinformation. This whole campaign, remember that during the election?
Yeah.
Yes.
That
yes,
was
do remember that.
brilliant. They didn't
Hey-
say it was. They said it had the telltale signs of, so
Right.
that later on, when we found that they knew it was, they were like, "Oh, well, we didn't say it was. We just said it had the signs of." That's all.
So I saw this more as a continuation of the original cover-up because the FBI had their hands on this laptop way ahead of anybody else, or even the news media even hearing about it, or Rudolph Giuliani getting his hands on it. This was something that they knew about a long time before. They knew the legitimacy of it, and they could have aided in making this information known. But they've been covering this up, and it's a continuation, in my opinion.
Yeah, and they've all, many of the mainstream media outlets have acknowledged it at this point, but there hasn't been headlines, hasn't made headlines. For example, New York Times, they just put it in the body of one of their stories that, they
They just wait
verified.
until
a lot of the
December
material.
of 2024. Then they'll be like, "Here it is."
Yeah. Christina, let me
Because
ask
then the
you.
election's over.
Christina, couldn't this also be filed under, and some people are going to be like, and that's okay. But Christina, let me ask you, couldn't this also be one that could be filed under the story that just will not die?
Yes. Yeah.
It
would
should
say
not
that.
die.
I'm not disagreeing with that, but I'm just saying it could be there.
Yeah, it could be there. And I'll tell you, like, I think that the more important things on his laptop, it wasn't like the salacious, bizarre sexual things that I think everybody knew he was getting into. It was the Burisma stuff, and the business dealings that he and the entire crime family were involved in. But, I think that also we all know that too.
Yeah.
I think everybody kind of knows that they're career criminals and they do the pay for play.
All right, Allie, what do we got next?
Okay, well, should we go to Larry? You can stick around. Could we pick one of our other presenters to do theirs and go back to you in a second?
Sure, go ahead.
Are you good with that? Okay, let's do Matt, because it's kind of similar. Matt, we have you doing fake news, right?
The biggest fake news story of the year.
Okay, let's go to this. Let's go to the finalists.
And the nominees are.
Here we go. Nominees are that Trump stole nuclear secrets, that gunshot victims couldn't get into the hospital because of ivermectin overdoses. The audience also voted anything described as safe and effective, SCOTUS decisions, monkeypox. Remember that? What happened to that? Ligma Johnson laid off at Twitter. nice nomination there. Natural immunity is dangerous. Mother Jones actually wrote an article that natural immunity is a dangerous theory from the right wing. And of course, other fake news stories. Let's see. We've got. Hold on. Well, that gets confusing there. More fake news stories. That Russia blew up their own pipeline to almost start World War III. I have to.
I put that in the other category. Sorry, guys. Yeah, that was in the real-time cover-ups. Sorry, Matt. But you can add it now if you want. You're the presenter, so you get to call the shots.
All right, and I will also nominate the fake news story that Russia launched missiles into Poland, which almost started World War III also.
Yes. That did happen. It didn't happen, but it was reported as
that's what the intelligence community said. The anonymous intelligence community. And Zelensky.
That definitely does not want World War III at all. Definitely does not want that.
Definitely not. No.
And it turned out that it was Ukraine that launched the missiles. Apparently, they were trying to launch missiles at Russia, which is to their east. And somehow it accidentally got to Poland, to their west.
Accidentally, yeah.
Amazing. Okay, so those are the fake news stories. I would like to know what all the presenters think, and if I missed anything, go ahead and nominate one of your own while everyone else votes.
And real fast, Who's Ed, thank you for the super sticker, and thanks everybody who's watching too on the other platforms. I apologize, it's StreamYard. The software I'm using only connects to YouTube for the chat, which is why you have to be in the YouTube chat to submit for your winner. So I'm sorry we're doing that. We all know YouTube is sketchy as get out and shouldn't be the only way you vote, because it's a fake election here on YouTube. So whatever. No. I wish we could link it up to Rumble, but that's just the way it is. Bill says we should be getting paid off anyway, and the whole thing should just.
We're for sale like every other award show. 100%. We are for sale.
Yeah.
Oh, for sale.
Yep.
Yes.
All right. So before we get ready to accept the award, let's go around the table real quick. Who does everybody predict will win this one?
What story?
Well, look, I just want to say, Matt, can you remember, does the sun rise in the east or the west? Can you remember?
No.
See, that's how they messed up that Poland-Russia thing. East and west, they messed it up. Easy mistake. That's what it is. It's definitely that one. Definitely that one.
All right. I'm going to go with, I think the Trump raid will win. Allison, how about you?
I like Ligma Johnson, so
I love that's what I hope wins. That's what I hope wins. I'm praying.
That got me. I totally believed that was a real freaking Twitter employee. I was like, oh man.
Remember, if you're voting, we need to be seeing you in the chat writing like Rob here, fake news. So everybody put your hashtag fake news in the chat right now to be selected to be the person who chooses the winner. So let's start seeing some hashtag fake news in the chat. Okay, continue on panel.
Larry, your prediction.
Go ahead.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Yeah, Larry, your prediction.
No worries. If I had to guess, I like Ligma too. It's funny. I mean, I love that. It's funny. It's exciting. And I fell for it too, because not just you. I fell for it too. Yep.
Clyde, yours.
I'm going to go with a new COVID variant. And this probably hits home to all
underdog.
the Canadians in the audience here today, because COVID has affected us more than it has anyone else. Well, maybe not COVID itself, but just the government overreach due to COVID and what we've been dealing with as a people in Canada. And every time they come up with a new boogeyman in their bug strains and whatnot that nobody's actually getting hurt by, they come down on us harder and harder. and it depends on what's happening. Apparently, it depends on if there's a holiday coming forward. That's when these new things happen, or if they want you to keep indoors for whatever reason, they'll nail you with this big fake news story, and it's to the tune of $1.4 billion in the CBC, the state broadcaster, to put this fake news story on all of the Canadians. And mind you, 38 million Canadians, $1.4 billion spent.
All right.
And we should clarify that obviously the fake news story is not that there's a new variant. It's just that COVID is so extremely dangerous, everyone's going to die. They
That's
don't
right.
lock themselves in their closets. In fact, one of the phrases that just kept getting repeated and repeated was, quote, "Nobody is safe until everyone is safe, unless everyone is safe, except for the 99.5% of people who are safe and would survive COVID." All right, moving on to
all right,
Christina.
Allie. Oh yeah,
Christina, and then we go.
I would say the SCOTUS decisions. I thought that there was a lot of hype about that, and a lot of people that were very emotionally worked up about something that really, if you think about it, shouldn't be that controversial,
All right.
So that's my
Okay, but we have somebody else that can join us and give her guess.
Yes.
The one and only Ivory Hecker.
Yes.
Welcome.
The live shot that lives in infamy with the sweaty AC repairman over her shoulder and said she was being censored live on television by Fox. All right, Ivory, welcome. Do you have a choice that you think, because we're going to let the viewers pick, but do you have a favorite here for biggest fake news story of the year?
Let's see.
She doesn't even need to look at the list.
I
Or it
think
could be
that,
something you just like.
Well, for 2022, I know that COVID, that would have been 2021, but I feel like 2022 COVID was not as
prevalent,
pertinent to each person's life. So perhaps the Trump raid, honestly, I think the Trump raid or monkeypox, because monkeypox was, they really tried to hype that like COVID and it just didn't fly. But certain people were very, very frightened, and people spent, overnight in line to get a monkeypox vaccine. So perhaps that one as well.
Okay, let's see who wins here. IRS media.
Okay.
Okay.
They always take the win.
If you're
We all want an audit.
Yes.
You get to choose. IRS media, what do you choose? Let's see.
I think IRS media chooses federal prison for all of us.
Oh no.
Yes.
Larry, as long as we're waiting for IRS media, you know what we got to do. We got to sell some wine real fast. And since Larry's here, I think I'm going to just let him do it.
No, I'm very serious about this, guys. If you like what you're seeing, if you think this is fun and interesting and you're watching it, then you have to support it, right? If you don't like wine, no worries. You don't have to buy this. But if you're going to buy wine, if you enjoy wine, you want to hang out with your friends, then go this route. Head on over to AllisonWinePromo.com. Go there and pick up wine there instead. I know you can go to your local store if you want to, and that's nice, but support Allison. She wants to keep doing this. She has to keep doing this. She's got to bug me to come do this stuff too. So you know what? Do me a favor. Pick up some wine. And here's the best part. When you have the wine, people are going to look at it and they're going to say, where's this from? And when they do that, you just started a conversation that you can start talking about the important things that Allison is talking about on her show. You can have those conversations over wine. So if things get a little bit heated, just get drunk and no one fights. So even better. This is nothing but a win. You should spend some time enjoying wine, supporting the show. And more importantly, this is in your cupboard. This is on your table. You're going to have some good conversations, which is even more important.
And it's a way to keep my show from being sponsored by Pfizer like everybody else, right?
Yes.
If you don't want to hear brought to you by Pfizer, then go get some Allison Wine promo so you can hear brought to you by AllisonWinePromo.com. And you get 50% off the wine and 50% off shipping. High altitude, Argentina, remote regions, can't get at your grocery store. Larry, let's do coffee real fast too, if you don't mind.
I'm agreeing. And remember, Bill and I have already said we are for sale. Now, if you don't want us selling out, then you got to do this. This is the only way that we don't go sell out, right? So you got to make sure that we're not selling out. To do that, you got to support this. And look, you might say, Larry, I like what you're saying, but wine's not my thing. That's okay. Coffee and tea can be your thing. You can get coffee or tea here. And again, get up in the morning, have some coffee, put on the coolest Alison Moreau video that you forgot to see last night because you were drunk on wine. No worries. You pick it up, and now you get to get some coffee and some tea, and you can watch it there. The glory of this is twofold. If you like the products already, buy them here to support the show. And again, people see it. You're having conversations. And if you're not having conversations, why are you watching the show? That's what this show does. Exactly. It spurs conversations with people around you. It makes you think about things differently, and your friends and your family. If you're not having the conversations, why are you watching the show? This is a great way. Have a conversation over a cup of coffee.
And I'm going to pull a producer privilege real quick. Apparently, IRS media has disappeared, like we all wish the IRS would do. So maybe we need to maybe we re-roll the dice.
Let's draw again. And Trevor.
I was about to say, come on, this is so
Trevor,
rigged.
are you in the chat? Let's queue up as we're waiting for Trevor. We got to remind ourselves now what we're even talking about. Biggest fake news story of the year. And here are your finalists. So Trevor, help us out here. Who wants to go next? Christina, do you want to go next? And we'll do Ivory right after that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, and Christina is going to do biggest story that mainstream media didn't cover but should have?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
The big tech and government FBI collusion. Obviously, the Twitter files, we're learning a lot about that. The VAERS data. Canadian trucker protest. Inflation, I feel like that's huge and should be talked about. The economy is very important to everybody. These are things that actually affect regular people. So, of course, the media doesn't really care about it. The Ghislaine Maxwell trial. I would say the entire Jeffrey Epstein scandal and really looking into what that was about and the intelligence aspect of that. Sam Bankman-Fried and the FTX bankruptcy. 5G. FBI involvement in the Whitmer kidnapping case. For people who know me, you guys know that's like my story right now. It's something that is very important to me. China's encroachment into the South China Sea, Congress passing $1.66 trillion funding bill, which no one knows what is in there. And the Alex Jones trials, which I think is super, super important, especially for freedom of speech, freedom of association, and the media. So you would think that the media would be covering that because of the implications it would have, but they really didn't. They think it's a good thing.
I'm going to tell David Florida, who has tried a couple times, you get, since we're not seeing Trevor, David, you choose the last one.
Oh, yay.
All right? You choose the fake news. You get to do it. It's my show,
Let's
so
go,
I get
David.
to go.
Biggest
David,
fake
who's going to
news
win
story
the biggest?
of
Who
2022.
wins it? Who wins it, David? All right, and then everybody start putting in your fake news for the next category.
David, if you do not pick Gligma Johnson, then what are you doing with your life?
David,
Come on, David.
David, who is
good.
it? Give us your choice for biggest fake news story of the year. Right?
Ivory, can you cue up some Jeopardy music for us?
Oh, I never watched Jeopardy.
Okay, Dave.
He's
picking.
Okay, David's picking. Go back to the finalist one more time for David here.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna this one draw again. Okay, this is for the story you should have covered if you were in mainstream news but didn't. David, what do you want for fake news? List again. Oh Lord. All right, Jean-Michel Dupont. That's a good Canadian, French Canadian name.
Oh,
right?
he says the Trump raid.
Oh, Trump raid.
There we go.
Okay.
Boo.
That's the biggest fake news story of the year.
If I was Will Smith, I'd slap you. How does Gligma Johnson not win that award? This is rigged.
True.
Could be. Okay, so who wins? So we need Jean-Michel Dupont. All right. Are you in the chat for the winner of the story that should have been covered? Right here. Here are your choices. What do you guys think?
Well, we all know where I stand on this one. I'm going to be choosing number 3 because that's the story that got no coverage from the beginning, and it became one of the biggest stories in Canada. Not the biggest, one of the biggest stories in 2022 of the decade, and it was the largest peaceful protest to ever be seen in Canadian history. And it got squashed by the media. They didn't want to cover it. It birthed all of these new independent medias, myself included, of people who just stopped doing what they were doing to cover that, and inspired similar protests all around the world. And of course, it led to the government saying, "Oh, you think we're overreaching? Hold my beer. I'll show you what overreaching is." Declaring a state of emergency on their people, Banana Republic tactics of suspending people's bank accounts that were involved in the protest, and saying that they only did it for a temporary amount of time, but they did it until the pressure came on and they had to release the bank accounts. And they in releasing the Emergencies Act, of which we've watched kangaroo court in that system, in that whole setup, take place in the months afterwards, and the mainstream media just not talking about it at all.
Well, they covered it. They did not cover the piece that it was a peaceful protest. They covered that it was allegedly a racist or violent, extreme, right wing. All this.
How crazy those Canadians are.
And then
we're so crazy.
Talking about taking people's money, freezing people's bank accounts, and stuff like that. That was freaking nuts.
Yeah, that should have gotten way more coverage. Absolutely. Yeah. And just the whole authoritarian response to it was undercovered.
And they haven't stopped. They're actually talking about seizing assets of Russian oligarchs now, and they're using that as a way to open the door to going after political dissidents within the country, by seizing assets permanently and then being able to do what they want with those assets.
We have a winner. Whitmer kidnapping.
Yes, that was the right answer.
Yes. Yes.
That was the right answer. The FBI being involved in creating the crimes that it ends is exactly the biggest piece when it comes to America, not Canada. Sorry, Clyde, I love you, but in America, FBI is the biggest deal. They create more crimes than they solve.
Absolutely.
That is what they do. They are an embarrassment. They are all about creating crimes and then saying, "See, we made a crime and now we solved it. Aren't we important? Please give us more money." And we keep doing it.
Exactly.
Well, to cut the FBI some slack, I mean, they're doing a great job, deleting jokes on Twitter.
Oh,
that's true. You're right.
They are saving us from those satire accounts.
Guys, I think it's number 1 because the big tech, aka media corporations, period. Okay, big tech corporations and news media corporations. They've all been on the exact same lockstep narrative, and discovering that the government is colluding with them. Well, we also discovered the government sent ad dollars to news corporations to do news a certain way too, and I think that answers the questions about all the other stories and why they didn't get covered.
Oh yeah,
it's because the government is controlling it. So number 1 takes the cake for the whole list. That's why the Canadian truckers didn't get covered. That's why
I'll buy that, because FBI's in number 1 too. So yes, I'm in.
Well, yes, exactly. And it really does, tie into the Whitmer thing too, because the FBI was using big tech. They were using Facebook. They created these Facebook pages for fake militia groups that they were trying to funnel people in. They also had undercover agents running accounts and interacting with people who got swept up in this and framed in it. Like one of the men I was interviewing recently, he interacted with at least 3 of these undercover people on Facebook that befriended him. And it makes you wonder how many FBI agents are dedicated to just that, right? Maintaining a fake online persona. It's very, very disturbing. So all of that is kind of connected, and I think you're right about that.
We've heard a lot in the past few years, especially on the mainstream media from the left, that there's a growing movement of fascism in the West. And well, you'll see it here. I mean, Mussolini's definition of fascism when he came up with the ideology was it's a perfect merger between state power and corporate entities, and this is what we're seeing here. So yeah, they're covering fascism, but they're not covering that fascism.
They're part of it.
Yeah.
Totally.
See, my
IRS media
fascism is
says
the good one. Your fascism is the bad one. Your fascism is the bad fascism. Mine's the good one, though.
Speaking of fascism, IRS media says, I'm watching from the beginning. Sorry, that's why he or she was not there for the answer. Okay, so let's do Ivory's category real fast. Ivory, you're doing mainstream media, darling, female, right? And then Larry, yours was male, right?
Right.
Yep.
Okay. I know they usually do. How do the Oscars do? Which one goes first in the Oscars?
Ladies first,
male.
right?
Ladies first. Yeah.
Usually it's ladies first, yeah.
Okay. I just want to make sure we're as corrupt as they are. Okay, Ivory, please read for us.
Oh, okay. Okay, more people were added to the list since you sent me.
Yeah,
Okay.
sorry. I didn't give you the updated list. Read off the screen.
Okay,
Yeah,
perfect.
can you see the
So we
screen?
have
And these are all submitted by locals viewers, just as a reminder to people. Join AlisonMorrow.locals.com. These are viewer submissions. Please, Ivory.
Very nice. Okay, mainstream media darling of the year female category. Number 1 is Facebook whistleblower Frances Haugen. She blew the whistle and released thousands of documents from Facebook, which exposed basically online bullying of kids, or basically that Facebook was bad for kids' mental health, and also that Facebook wasn't censoring enough misinformation. Oh my goodness. Number 2, Taylor Lorenz, Washington Post journalist on internet culture.
I'm gonna call BS on that. She is not a journalist.
Ooh.
A tabloid journalist, maybe.
There you go.
Number 3 was Amber Heard, the actress who went head to head with her ex Johnny Depp in their defamation lawsuit this year. Number 4, Queen Elizabeth, who died after reigning for 70 years. Number 5, Olena Zelenka. Okay, that's someone new that was added.
That's
6,
Zelensky's wife.
Oh, Zelensky's wife. See, I didn't even know that. Number 6.
There you go. You learned something.
I thought he was married to the Cash. I didn't know Cash either.
Sunny Hostin, number 6, from The View. Joy Reid from The View is number 7, and number 8, Michelle Obama, and number 9,
How'd she make the list?
Misinformation. Is that a real person?
I don't,
Misinformation.
feels like it would be something that would get like a prime time. If there was a misinformation, they'd have a primetime show. Okay, let's see.
Oh,
David,
dang it!
David already gotten to choose, so we're gonna go. We'll pick for another one. David got to choose.
I thought it was me. I was like, let's go.
Charles K. Okay,
Charles K.
Charles K. You are the winner.
Yes, no.
Charles K.
What's going on?
It's got to be Sunny Hostin. You got to pick Sunny Hostin.
Who else remembers back in the 90s when the FBI stopped their Klan operations when it was revealed to be funding more than 50% of collected dues? Is that real?
Exactly.
Oh,
Yeah.
no way.
Oh yeah.
I thought that was just a Democrat organization. Didn't have any other ties.
It's both.
Who do you guys want to win?
It's a toss-up between Amber Heard and Taylor Lorenz, because Amber Heard was this darling that they wanted to just take down Johnny Depp because they just hate what they call male masculinity or toxic masculinity, all this stuff. And it turned out she was a villain. She was an absolute villain in the case. And that makes me want to pick her. But another villain was Taylor Lorenz. Taylor Lorenz is... She's this darling that they brought on to have a cry on national television because she's not treated right as a journalist. And it turns out, well, she does tabloid stuff, and she has a career of doxing people. And
she's a bad person.
She's a terrible person in general.
Yes,
yeah,
so just
we got two villains on the list, and I'm like,
Exactly.
it's a toss up between those two.
Yep.
I get the feeling though
Charles might be gone, so keep going. Let's keep discussing while I pick a new winner. Okay?
I have a trivia question for you guys that you may enjoy.
Okay.
You know, Queen Elizabeth was a head of state. Does anyone know the current longest serving head of state in the world? The current longest head of state in the world. Anybody happen to know?
Elizabeth?
No. Good
Putin?
question.
She's no longer serving.
Oh, currently
Gee.
serving.
It is a trick question, by the way. It is.
Oh no.
The answer is Kim Il-sung. He was the first president of North Korea. He is the only head of state who was not president for life. He is president for eternity. So he is
there
still
you go.
he's
still
serving
is.
head of state, even though he's been dead for almost 50 years. So yes, he is still
That is
the
a
head of
tricky
state of North Korea. It is a trick question. Yes,
Yeah.
the current leader of North Korea is the head of government, not the head of state.
North Korea's tricky
picking
like
again.
that.
We're
Trick
picking
question. It's
again.
going to be interesting for you guys.
David.
No, I didn't say
David.
alive. I said currently serving, not currently alive. Is what I said. It's a trick
Bill,
question.
tuned in late. What's the winner thing? Okay, basically you just write hashtag fake news in the chat, and then it will auto pick somebody. I'm going to pick someone who actually did it right here. This is just, again, this is not what to do. Okay, don't do hashtag fake news with your choice. Just put hashtag fake news.
No
Like this.
spaces.
No spaces, just hashtag fake news, and then it'll auto populate. David, are you in the chat? Because you're the next winner. David, are you in the chat? Should I run it again, you guys? What do you think? Let's run it one more time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One more
let's do
time.
that.
If not, like 5 of us vote or something.
Did Bill leave? Bill left.
David again.
David wins again. You can't win again, David.
So
This is, let's see here. No.
Ha!
I think
It's
I may let
definitely
my daughter
either
speak.
Amber Heard or Taylor Lorenz.
Yeah.
so let's vote
I
on
mean-
it. Let's us vote on it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's
But I
all
like
vote.
misinformation. That's my favorite.
So it's a tough one
I
for me
like that,
because Amber Heard hurt one individual, but the winning against her helped a lot of men in the
Yeah.
future. Taylor Lorenz, she hurt journalists that are out there to try to tell the truth, and she's off scot-free to do it again. So I'm gonna vote for Taylor Lorenz on this
I'm
one.
with you. I have two for Taylor.
Yeah.
I'm
I
going
think-
Amber Heard because I mean that was definitely like one of the biggest stories, and I mean it was just incredible. Every news organization down to even SNL was like, writing skits just to frame her as a total victim, which was obviously not the case. So yeah, Amber Heard.
That's interesting. Like I got to attend the trial in person because I live in Fairfax County, so it was easy to go to, and it did kind of turn into like this bizarre circus, but I had to like sit in there and look at this woman in the face. I mean, she turned around and looked at me at one point, like dead in the eyes, because I was on her side of the courtroom, and I think she thought I was like one of her fans. Literally nobody was there to support her though. And I think what she did was very damaging. Like she went up there and lied about a very serious issue, right? And there are other victims of abuse who I think were very damaged by her lies. And I think it just showed people that you can't just believe an allegation without any proof to back it up. Like, look how long that thing dragged out for 6 years and ruined a man's life and his career. And Johnny Depp is not somebody that is just a regular guy. He is a powerful person in his own right. And if she could tear him down and destroy him, then imagine what any woman could do to a man who doesn't have those kinds of resources and a fan base supporting him. So I think that Amber Heard would be my choice, followed by Taylor, though, because I really don't like doxers.
And I mean, the incredible thing is, even with this evidence, these recordings that show that she was the physical abuser in this story, and still all the media spun it in her favor as if she was a victim, which is just mind-boggling.
Some of them still are. They're still going with it.
I would make the argument that Taylor probably deserves it more because Amber Heard, that was really more of a Johnny Depp and Amber Heard thing, whereas Taylor Lorenz really tried to jam it in multiple people. So and I think the scope of it, you can make an argument for one is huge, but in the grand scheme of things, it's one entitled millionaire arguing with another entitled millionaire. If you want to look at it that way, there was abuse, and I'm not discrediting that at all. But Taylor Lorenz, she jammed it in so many people and didn't even offer Vaseline. So I think it's she deserves it by far.
And not to mention perpetuating the whole victim thing online.
Yes, on that MSNBC thing, right?
But there are people that are victims of harassment online, and somebody who runs their mouth on a media outlet and then gets hate mail because of it. That's not the same thing. Like they're equating themselves with actual victims, and I think that's damaging as well.
It's disgusting. Agreed. They're allowed to track people down, dox private citizens who have nobody helping them, right? That's what she does. She goes around trying to like out small accounts that she doesn't like independent journalists and stuff like that. And I think that's very sad. And then, you know, when somebody says they don't like her on the internet, even though she's a public figure as a Washington Post journalist and someone that's been featured in Netflix documentaries, suddenly she's a victim of bullying or whatever. And I think that's so dishonest. And I think it's ridiculous, quite frankly. She's a very privileged person. She went to private schools. Like, her entire life has been a life of privilege, and she targets people who have no corporate backing. They don't have a Washington Post there to protect them if they lose their job and lose everything because of her lies.
Although a lot of people at WAPO are fixing to lose their jobs.
Wow. Through other means. I think they all need to learn how to cobalt mine. I think that's what's coming up for them in
that was an amazing video leak. Amazing.
Who won? So did we do? Did everybody?
Oh yeah, who won?
Well, I think didn't we decide we were giving up on the viewers and we were just going to tabulate?
Yeah, I thought we were voting.
We tabulated it. I voted for Taylor.
Yes. I vote Taylor.
Okay. I vote
it
Taylor.
Seems like Taylor wins.
Taylor, I vote Taylor.
Okay, I'm going to vote for Queen Elizabeth because the media has always been obsessed with the royals.
Oh,
okay.
That's true. Yeah.
Does my vote count?
Yep,
yes,
absolutely, 100%.
That's definitely an American thing, though.
Taylor it is.
The Royals
right.
thing. That's
Stanley says Taylor too.
Yep.
Okay,
I think that's
Taylor wins.
Okay. Here you go, Taylor. Here's something for you, honey.
Okay. I am going to
take your ism.
So that this doesn't take forever next time, I'm drawing again for the next category so we can get on that one. And that's going to be mainstream media darling male. Mainstream media darling. No!
Let's go!
Yeah.
Let me
Bill gets
let you know that I'm very happy again to actually have another awesome category. And this category of the isms is mainstream media darling male.
Right.
And the nominees are number 1, Dr. Tony Fauci. Number 2, Mr. Bill Gates. Number 3, President Joe Biden. Number 4, Jim Acosta. Number 5, Ukraine President Zelensky. Number 6, the man himself, SBF Sam Bankman-Fried. Number 7, the ghost of Kiev, who doesn't exist. And of course, 8, different disinformation, which doesn't exist. But those are your categories, and who will get the alley? I don't know. Let's find out.
Well, since I get to pick, and I am not only am I a man of the people, I am the people's champ. Please don't sue me, Dwayne Johnson. I want to hear from our distinguished panelists. Please tell me, who do you think should win? Who do you think should win this?
You want to hear me?
Zelensky. Hands down, Zelensky.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with Fauci.
Hang on, let me call it out so we don't talk over each other.
Okay.
Let's go. All right. Let's start at the bottom. Stanley, go.
I'm going to go with Bill Gates. And my reason is because I just recently posted which people didn't like, but there was an article that he was going to kill a whole bunch of babies with the new vaccine. And I'm like, how does Bill Gates even come up into the misinformation of vaccines and killing babiys? And that
Stanley,
became
you're on the
viral.
right stream for that. We could go into that in a second if you want.
Say it again.
I can't do it on YouTube. Okay, but hang on a second. So Stanley says Bill Gates. All right, wait. Let me go back. I just want to make sure you guys can see it. Who's next? All right, Bill, you already said yours or no?
No, I'm choosing. Bill's
waiting for us to talk, and he's going to pick after he hears us talk.
Oh, okay.
Ivory is up next.
Ivory, go ahead.
President of Ukraine, Zelensky. The media love this guy. They had propped him up all year as this, brave, noble hero. Well, we sent all of our printed money his way. 100% humans.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree with Ivory here. I think that the media loves him, and they continue to portray him as like a defender of democracy, and I believe he's just a puppet for, these oligarchs, people like Igor Kolomoisky. So I picked Zelensky too.
I'm going with Joe Biden. I mean, even from the very beginning, like the media's gone so soft on him. Like, the whole fact that he voted for the Iraq War, he had the Senate Foreign Intelligence Committee, rigged that to get us into the Iraq War. It's just so much stuff that the media never even touched on, and it would have sunk anybody. The Washington Post, that tracked all of Donald Trump's lies, they literally said that they weren't gonna have an archive of Joe Biden's lies, and so that's just incredible, and obviously that's continued into this year, and the Democrat-aligned media has gone super soft on him as far as inflation. They even said they denied that inflation was even happening to protect Joe Biden. So I'm going Joe Biden.
Okay.
For me, it's a bit of a toss-up. So we have Zelensky on one hand, and then we have Fauci on the other. Fauci, the other darling of the media. There's nothing he can do wrong, even when he's doing wrong. He says one thing and then he retracts that and doesn't retract it, just starts saying the other thing, and the media goes lockstep with what he's saying in the moment. We have the lab leak theory that's come out. We know that they've been funding things, brutal things, like even doing research where they would torture puppies by locking them in a cage with their face in with a bunch of parasites that would eat their head alive. Like these, just an absolutely diabolical thing from what seems to be a diabolical person, but the mainstream media diabolicking on this guy, and also Zelensky as well. We've seen, he wasn't so much of a darling when Trump was in office during the perfect phone call, and that was all corrupt. It was all corrupt until the moment Trump was out, Biden was in, and now there's money to be laundered. It's laundry day in the Ukraine all year this year. And Zelensky, I think, is going to have to be my pick for this one.
Well, look, I agree with the thought process, but let me go to what I think is the more important piece. I'm not mad at the president of Ukraine, Zelensky. He's doing what anyone would do. I can grift. Thank you. Let me grift. I got money from my people. I'm going to go. You're throwing money at somebody. You want to throw money at me? I got it. I'm not mad at him. If I was him, I'd be doing the same thing. Give me all I can. Keep my country. I'd be doing it too. So I'm not mad at him. Biden is like every other president. Not mad at him. I'm mad at Fauci because Fauci knew better and he still did it. Fauci has no remorse whatsoever. He has never backed out. In fact, he's lied saying he wasn't responsible for the lockdowns. The lockdowns are the biggest piece of damage that has happened to this country since 9/11. I'm not even exaggerating with that. It has been the worst. It's worse than 2008. More pain, more death, more crime, all because of the lockdowns. All that happened because of him. He was the reason why people were able to lock down their nations, lock down their states. It was because of Fauci, and he is directly responsible. And no remorse, no pain, no backlash, no nothing. Fauci's my guy, hands down, because of who he is.
Allison.
I am also going to vote indirectly for Fauci, but really for disinformation, because I feel like without the obsession with disinformation, you wouldn't have a Fauci. You wouldn't have hardly any of these people if there wasn't an obsession with disinformation. Many of these people would not have risen like cream to the top. So I guess I'm really going to vote for disinformation, the concept. And
hold on, let me get one piece. we wouldn't have this information if it wasn't for Fauci saying, "I am science." Right? If Fauci doesn't say, "I am science," there's no disinformation.
But the reason he can get away
is
with
not a
saying
guy. You're Amber Hearding. Anyway, never mind.
Disinformation is the George Foreman grill for the mainstream media. I mean, you can slap it together, cook it, flip it around, and serve it up however you want. And
wasn't that a Belle Biv DeVoe song in the '90s? Smack it up, flip it, rub it down. Oh,
Sounds like
no.
Yeah, I mean, but really, like if there wasn't an obsession with disinformation, Fauci couldn't get away with saying something like that. But he got away with saying, like, trust me, I am science, all that stuff, because there's no light without darkness, right? Like, he can only get away with saying that because there's this concept that we have this very scary thing out there called disinformation or misinformation, that you cannot question people like him, otherwise you are an agent of these very scary words. And so he gets a pass because of the fear of the folks who are questioning him spreading disinformation or misinformation. So that's why I chose that. Bill, what's your choice?
All right. So after hearing all the evidence, only one of these people, to the best of my knowledge, only one of them actually banked the cover of Vanity Fair. I got to go with Zelensky. It's not about who was hated most or misinformation or anything like that. When we talk about the mainstream media darling, they hype this guy like ESPN hypes LeBron James. Zelensky was more of a victim in 2022 than Amber Heard. So I think when it comes to mainstream media darling male, it's got to go to Zelensky.
Okay.
All right.
What should we do?
Congratulations, all our nominees. So happy that you tried, but don't be angry.
Zelensky. Yeah, don't try to win an alley next year.
Yeah, that's okay.
Let's do
the alley goes Zelensky.
And real fast, can everybody say where people can find you before we go any farther? Let's go in order. Larry, start, and then let's go to Clyde, Ivory, Christina, Matt, Bill, and Stanley. Start with Larry.
Absolutely. You can check me out the Sharp Way. I literally have a poster right next to me. You can go ahead and check it out anytime you like. You can check out the Sharp Way on all the things. I'm on all the interweb stuff. I'm everything from TikTok to Facebook to YouTube to Twitter to all the things. YouTube. Feel free to please check me out there. I do a show at least 3 days a week, if not more, around 7 p.m. Eastern. And sometimes I also do a radio show, Shortwave Radio, live radio, WYS out of Rochester, New York, every Tuesday at 1 p.m.
Thank you very much for having me on the show, Allison. And this is Clyde from Clyde Do Something YouTube channel. I'm your everyday morning news guy for Canadian news, world news, mostly about, basically how the government's trying to, screw us and how much they like to overreach. And I like to hold the media to account for what they are saying and see how much of it is actually accurate as opposed to what's actually happening on the ground. I got my start with the Freedom Convoy and gained a lot of respect in Canada through that. And the audience is growing. We just broke 100,000 subscribers. Thank every one of you for that.
Nice.
And we're going to continue growing throughout this year. We're going to bring on some long form podcasts as well as the everyday morning content. So stay tuned, tune in, and we'll see you in the next one.
Awesome. And I'm Ivory Hacker. You can find me on all platforms as well, but please check out my regular news coverage on youtube.com/ivoryhacker. Now that I have left the corporate news, where I had a 9-year corporate news career, I now try to spend my time covering things that the media is not covering, trying to fill in the blanks that the media refuses to, the questions they refuse to answer, because what I learned from the inside is the biggest way that the media lies is through omission. So follow my YouTube, youtube.com/ivoryhacker.
You can find me on my YouTube channel. It's just Radix Ferrum. I have all my links at libertylinks.io. That's linked in my YouTube channel at the top there. So you can find me on every single social media platform that I'm on. I have a Substack. I'm on Locals also. And I cover similar stuff to Ivory and Clyde. Right now, my biggest thing, though, is the Whitmer case. I'm working on a documentary on that is taking a long time, but I'm going to be very proud of it, and hopefully it will be done in a timely manner. But I kind of talk about things like government corruption, especially the FBI right now. That's sort of my focus. So, yeah.
I go by Orf. I make video mashups to expose the mainstream media groupthink. You can find me, I go by Orf on YouTube, Orf on Rumble, ZeroRF on Twitter, and you can also find me on Matt Taibbi's Substack.
Stanley.
Bill.
Go right ahead, sir.
I'm Stanley Roberts, and you may or may not know who I am. I started a show a long time ago in San Francisco called People Behaving Badly, and I reached up to 100,000 subscribers, and then my account was wiped. And I took a job with CBS in Arizona and started from scratch there. Got my YouTube up to 10,000 people, but I'm still trying to get it back to 100,000. I did a show in Arizona called Caught Misbehaving. So now I have a YouTube channel at Mr. Badly TV if you go to YouTube. And my whole focus of Mr. Badly TV is to focus on bad behavior. Now, I do little skits, little videos, real life videos of real people doing really stupid stuff. And this has been my history. And if you don't know me, Google me. Stanley Roberts is my name for most of my personal accounts, but Mr. Badly TV is what I created on YouTube and Twitter and a few other channels. So subscribe, find me. I'm there. You'll find the stupid stuff that I find people doing and get a good laugh out of it.
Outstanding. Oh,
Bill?
My socials are none of y'all's business. So you can catch me on Tittle Tattle with Allison on ROKFIN for subscribers only. Very proud to still be a part of that with Allison. So other than that, go follow all these awesome, wonderful people. They're doing great work, and really happy to be here with them.
All right, to cue Stanley up for his category, which is Best News Blooper. And I should just say, if you've read your categories and you need to go eat dinner or do something, feel free to just dump out. We won't get mad at you. But I wanted to say thank everybody who's been here presenting.
Yes.
Really
Thank you.
appreciate your time. Thank you so much. And thanks to everybody who's been submitting. Remember, hashtag fake news if you want to submit for a winner real fast. One of the submissions was this video. The reporter in combat gear was what the person said, with the lady walking with her groceries behind him. So let's see what happens here.
Is enough reason for us in the National Weather Service to issue those extreme wind warnings.
Okay, so that's Stanley. This is your category. Let's go to the finalists again, submitted on locals here, and we'll have Stanley read to us the finalists.
So the best news bloopers for 2022. Number 1, Alex Jones nervously laughing with Ye. And if you don't know who Ye is, Kanye West. Number 2, John Bolton admitting USA stages coups. Coups. That's no worse than my sister when she called me up and said, "I heard you guys had a sasami," and I couldn't stop laughing for 3 days. Number 3, hurricane reporter in combat gear while lady walks with groceries, which reminds me of a story of the Weather Channel did during a hurricane where they were like fighting the wind and there's a guy behind you walking by like nothing's going on. So I always watch those things and go, what the heck's going on here? And being in the news, you see all that stuff you don't normally see. Number 4, Victoria Nuland admits to biolabs in Ukraine. And number 5, Biden looking for dead congressman. That one went viral. That was a big one for a long time.
Okay, so before we go anywhere else, I want to kind of light a candle here. And the reason for that is because the nominees in this category smell like shit. Y'all really let me down. When I'm thinking news bloopers, I'm not thinking somebody said something or did, I'm looking for more like, the video that Allison just played. When I came up with this category, I was looking for reporter falls down in the snow, or a kid just jumps out and says, "I like turtles," something like that. All this other stuff. Ivory, am I wrong in expecting this one to be more of a funny thing here?
No, I agree, which is why I was going to say Alex Jones, because basically anything that involves him is extremely entertaining. So
it's true.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Yeah.
Joe, are you there? Joe, I know Joe was there. Joe, are you? If not, I'm going to just choose critical thought because Critical Thought has tried a million times to get in. So let's give Joe a chance. Otherwise, we're taking Critical Thoughts. Joe, are you there? If you got 10 seconds to write your win, otherwise we're going to do Critical Thought. Please give us your win. All right, Joe's here. Sorry, Critical Thought.
Right,
we'll get you in the next one.
You'll be next.
Joe, what do you pick? Let's keep going, guys. Go ahead.
I think it's got to be. I mean, just for the spirit of the award, I think it's got to go to the Hurricane Reporter. But I mean, because the reporter looks like he's dressed up for downtown Kiev.
Oh, Joe. Yeah. Joe wants to pass the Critical Thought. Okay, Joe passes to Critical Thought. So
are we allowed to do that?
I gotta say, now the hurricane blooper, like that is hilarious, but that happens every year. And I gotta say, Biden asking for a dead congresswoman, I mean, that is incredible.
Critical Thought agrees with you.
Yeah.
Critical
All
Thought
right.
agrees.
All right.
So I'm going to jump in here. I'm going to jump in here with this. And I know Biden having a gaffe. That's a gaffe. That's not a news blooper. That's the news doing their job and having a thing.
That's not a blooper.
And yes, the hurricane blooper was a blooper, but Alex Jones is the news, whether you like that to be the truth or not. And the thing is, when Alex Jones is the news, he makes everyone so absolutely uncomfortable on their podcasts or in their broadcasts and their television studios. This is a thing that he is known for, and he's famous for doing this. And for to have Ye come on and put him in exactly the spot that he puts everyone else in, and
100%.
just the look on his face, and just actually trying to no, that's not what you're trying to say, is it? You're trying to say this other thing. No. I said this. No.
That was amazing.
It was beautiful, and I think it was like the moment of the year when it comes to bloopers in news, period. And that one takes the cake for me.
I agree.
He's so got his own medicine. He's so got his own medicine, right? Now he knows what it feels like. Yes.
But is laughing a blooper? Laughing a blooper, though. I mean,
the way he hit that entire interview was.
Well, it's kind of like lawyers, right? You don't ask a question you don't already know the answer to. And I guess when interviewing Ye, there's no safe questions. I mean, it's just not a thing you can do.
Well, that's my whole point, right? If you're going to have Ye on your show, you got to expect the weirdest stuff to happen, right? You have to kind of expect that. And you should have been ready for it. You should have been ready for him, I don't know, pull out his junk and say, hi, look at it, or something like that. I mean, you shouldn't have expected anything from him. That would have shocked me. That would not have shocked me. I'd be like, okay, that's what we're doing today. Okay, we're doing that. Okay.
So here's a question I have. So the question I have about Ye is that everybody claims that he's not taking his medication, and that's why he is doing what he's doing. But if we know he's not taking his medication, then why are we putting him on TV if you know that he's going to, you know what I'm saying? If I was buck naked crazy, would you grab a camera and go, hey, why are you buck naked crazy? And then
I would, Stanley, I would.
You would?
I would.
Well, that's the sharp way.
That's the sharp way.
Have you seen the guests that Alex Jones has on his show?
That's what I'm saying. I would.
Which is why he can never be taken seriously. But either way, Allie, what do we have next?
Well, I think you make a good point, Stanley, just in that I think that is like a big picture question that is a fair one to ask just about headlines, generally speaking, is, if you say somebody's nuts, but then you use them for money, what does that say about you? Right.
Yeah.
So
it's funny because I'm not nuts. At least the last time I checked, I wasn't. But no one wants to but I don't get taken seriously. But yet some guy who may or may not be nuts gets taken seriously. And they go, well, because he has $3 billion. That doesn't make you smart. It just means that you got $3 billion.
Okay.
Yeah, we can test that theory with me if you want, Stanley. Give me the $3 billion and I'll tell you if I'm nuts.
Mm-hmm. Now, Larry, I think the word you're looking for Larry, I think the word you're looking for is eccentric.
Okay, wait.
Very nice way to put it.
Hold it. I've had this discussion before with people. It's if you're rich, you're eccentric. If you are rich and you just made a mistake, but if you're poor, you're a criminal.
Right.
Yep.
That's accurate.
Hold on. That's the 50 Shades of Grey principle. If Christian Grey was a poor white trash guy in a trailer park, it wouldn't be 50 Shades of Grey. It'd be an episode of Another 48.
It'd be Silence of the Lambs. be silent to the lambs. Yes.
We're all going with the assumption that Ye's crazy, right? So like Ye's well known for doing controversial things and pushing it as far as he possibly can. And he's done it several times, you know, with Mike Myers and saying George Bush doesn't like black people.
Remember that one? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
and he's been doing it for years
How
and
about
years.
slavery was a choice? Remember that one?
Yeah, that was another one.
Slavery's
So like
a choice? Yeah.
and so who knows if he was thinking in his own way that this might be some controversy he could wrap himself up into and then possibly come out the other side of, you know. We don't know. We don't know if it's genuine craziness or it was like some media a botched media stunt or something. But otherwise,
I will say this.
Nonetheless, it happened.
I will say this. If I say something crazy on social media, I get lambasted, ripped apart, shredded to pieces. Don't put him on our air anymore. He's nuts. The other people get on there and go, how is that even happening?
I get that for just having a policy they disagree with.
Yes.
I get that for just having a policy. I'm not even like saying, I'm like, well, how about we change the budget this way? This guy's insane. Get him off TV. Oh my God. I get it for just that.
Wait,
so, yes,
I got a good
agree.
one for you.
Oh, okay. Just a sec. I think that Kanye had a point in that when I think he was using logic when he said slavery is a choice. He was talking about people in the 21st century who still act like slaves. And if you are living in this free society and saying that you're a slave, and as a corporate news reporter, I was covering people who are literally leaders of government agencies shouting slave, that I'm a slave. People believed they were slaves in the 21st century. And Kanye was saying that if you still believe you're a slave right now, that's a choice. He wasn't saying that slavery.
I want to be clear.
Okay.
No, he was not. He
Okay,
literally said slavery was 400 years. 400 years, that sounds like a choice.
Okay,
So he was not saying that. He was literally saying that people enslaved for 400 years, that was a choice. That's literally the context of what he said. That is what he said.
Okay, I've got to push back a little bit on Ivory there, because Ivory, what you just said was poignant. It made sense. It sounded articulate, and it absolutely had no place on TMZ, which is where he made that comment. I'm sorry. let's be honest here. Yes. TMZ is not where people go for philosophical debate.
That's
exactly.
correct.
Hey, that's a really great lead-in for our next category, which Ivory is going to read for us, which is independent news organization you just can't trust. But first, I just want to give everybody a shout-out who supports me over on Locals, AllisonMorrow.locals.com. Somebody, Rock Horror was saying Disney made a biopic for Fauci. Did that happen? Somehow I missed that one. Is that real?
Wow.
Is that the one that Rotten Tomatoes, 100% of the critics loved it and 0% of the audience loved it?
Maybe.
No, I think that was the AOC documentary.
No, there was a
That could've
Fauci
been,
one too.
Is that a real thing?
That could have been one for the Get Woke Go Broke category. And then thank you for Wells Mortensen here to buy Sassy, my horse, and Apple. Or Oats, either works. Really 100% content. So thank you guys. Thanks everybody who's over on Locals in the live chat right now. Really appreciate it. Okay, so let's go back to this. So again, these are partially submitted by Bill. I should just say Bill has an axe to grind with a couple of these, and he can go rant if he wants. But anyway, Bill plus the Locals viewers compiled this list for independent news organization you just can't trust. Ivory, take it away.
Okay, 2022's independent news organization you just can't trust. Number 1, all of them. Number 2, C-SPAN. Number 3, NPR. Number 4, The Young Turks. Number 5, Daily Wire. Number 6, Breaking Points. Number 7, The Blaze. Number 8, David Pakman. Number 9, Rising on the Hill. Now, I read this list to a friend, and she said, "Wait, where's CNN and stuff?" Remember, this is independent news organization.
Thank you, Ivory. Thank you. Now, I do want to see what. Intellectual iconoclasm. I want to see what. I want to see what he picks, or he or she picks. My apologies. I'm not trying to assume gender. Don't cancel me. Now, I will tell you what the 3 that I picked are, and I will give you my reasoning. But you'll notice I did not put Project Veritas on there because I feel what they do is actual journalism. So take that for what it is. But let's see what they come up with here.
Okay.
I'm not seeing intellectual iconoclasm. Shall I roll again?
Roll again.
And
Okay.
also, I want to hear all the presenters' take on this.
Yes, absolutely.
Well,
Sarah?
I thought it was interesting that that you had left and right wing
Yes.
outlets. I love that because I think we're in this era where people are questioning everything on all sides.
Thank
More and more
you.
are. I like
Thank
that.
you.
Yeah.
Kenton, are you in the chat? Kenton, you look a lot like that guy Peter Hotez, the vaccine scientist that I just did a video about. He was on Rogan.
I thought
Don't diss him like that.
I swear, I thought
Kinda
this
looks
was.
like him a
I
little
thought
bit.
this. I thought I saw this guy on one of
Oh,
Crowder.
here we go. Kenton's
here
in
we
the
go.
chat. TYT.
Okay.
No,
Young
you can trust them to
Turks.
always get it wrong.
Yes.
Kenton
Yes.
says.
100%. That's who
Eat
I
it,
would have
Chink.
picked. Is 100% correct.
Eat it, Chink.
that's where I
Eat
was.
it. Eat it.
100%.
Any other thoughts on that category? before
I'd
we
like
do
to.
the last
I'd like to chime in on
Yes,
that one.
I'm
So,
agreeing with the TYT. I've literally done. I literally will do another probably video on them probably this weekend. I literally just take their stuff. I watch it and then tell people how they are blatantly wrong, not even close to correct. They don't even produce receipts. They just go, this sounds like it might be right wing, so therefore it's wrong and evil. And then they go off to say how it's wrong and evil with literally no information, no stats, no nothing. And they laugh at each other and go, Cenk, is that good, Cenk? Cenk, did I do good? Cenk, did I do good? And Cenk goes, yes, my children, you have done well. Yes, please keep attacking those people, my children. And then Cenk does a funny voice and then segment over. So yes, that's literally how they do it.
Clyde, how about you?
The Young Turks, I mean, is an interesting organization. It's very left wing progressive. Cenk Uygur, no stranger to the progressive movement, except when he was younger and the Young Turks was brand new, and they used to run segments about celebrities and talking about their private parts and things like that, and how they would rate them, what they would see if they were to see these people naked. These are the things that Cenk Uygur, I'm so used to calling him Chunky Yogurt, but Cenk Uygur, he's the he's this guy. Now he's obviously of Turkish descent, but I mean that would be like a German coming forward with a TV show called the Hitler's Youth. If you don't know who the Young Turks were in history, they were actually the people in Turkey during the conflicts of the 21st century. Or the 20th century, where that committed the Armenian genocide. Like, this is a ridiculous name for a show in the first place, and then to make a whole media organization around it. Again, they're very biased. They pretend that they're not biased, and I mean that's transparent on itself. But the amount of people that have even quit the enterprise over the years. Dave Rubin worked for them. He's left. He's since, as a lefty, classical liberal, gone on to be more centrist, and I'd say he's more centrist anyway than right. But a lot of people on the Greenwald left. We have Jimmy Dore, who's gone on to make his own career, and he gets crapped on by the Young Turks constantly. And Jimmy Dore is by no means on the right or center. No. He's very much a progressive himself, but he's at least a little bit more realistic. He's not partisan. He's not a partisan hack. And I'd say that the Young Turks is a partisan hack organization, and they have no qualms with that, and they'll just be that forever, it seems.
Okay. Yeah, I agree with everything you said. Although, I'll just to stress what you were saying, TYT is not really progressive, though. I'd say Jimmy Dore is a legitimate progressive. For example, TYT, instead of holding AOC and the self-called progressives to actually carry out any progressive legislation, like forcing to vote on Medicare for example, TYT protected the politicians. Jimmy Dore was rightly exposing them as not actually progressives. C-SPAN, honestly, I think C-SPAN is as good as you can get, because there's like no editing, and it's just, for the most part, raw video. I will say, from like Senate hearings and everything, like I think that's great. Like, but like any station, they still, of course, choose what to cover. Funny story. I remember I was looking through the archives and seeing some investigative report on the SNL bailout, and it cut to Bill Clinton at an AIPAC rally. So that's just an example. But overall, I think C-SPAN is as good as it can get. NPR has done terribly. They promoted or they denied the lab leak theory as a conspiracy theory and called every true story a conspiracy theory. Daily Wire, I'm honestly not that as familiar with. I know they're lean right or whatever, so I'm curious what other people say. Breaking Point's generally pretty good. They did I'm biased. They've featured my stuff, but I thought they did a terrible job on covering the Nord Stream pipeline attack. Blaze, I haven't really been following them. David Pakman, total hack. Rising on the Hill. My God, Robbie, whatever.
Robbie Suave.
I thought he was good with a lot of the stuff on Reason, but man, total hack. Was pushing that the Russia bombed their own pipeline repeatedly. Those are my thoughts. So
I have to step in for 1 second with Robbie. Yeah. Robbie's personal for me because Robbie calls himself a libertarian. I am a libertarian. Thank you. I am a libertarian. Robbie is no libertarian. He is not a libertarian. He calls himself one, and that makes me angry. Just be what you are, a poser. Just say, I'm a poser. I'm not actually libertarian. I'm a poser hack. I'm just trying to make money. Just say that. I'm good
just
with
say
that.
I'm a Ben Shapiro wannabe, and I want to go to Ivory.
Go.
Yeah, and Ivory, I definitely want to get your feelings on this, but I get the feeling we're going to talk a little bit. So Stanley, let's get your thoughts because I definitely want to hear Ivory because I know we will have some similar thoughts here.
Okay, my turn. First of all, please excuse me for
Poor Stanley's eating a sandwich. He was hoping to
let that man eat.
And but for some reason, I'm like, I have this vision of people looking at me going, look how he's eating that sandwich. It's messy. Like, the sandwich isn't messy. I mean, I'm not messy. It's just the sandwich is messy.
This is the Stanley eats a sandwich part of the stream.
Yeah, yes. So this is the part when Stanley eats a sandwich. So there's a lot going on. I would have to go with, I have to go with YTY because
TYT. Oh, okay.
TYT, whatever. See, sandwiches make you talk backwards. And so, and the reason why is because, and I've seen, the funny thing about Daily Wire, let's go backwards for a minute. So the Daily Wire, I never understand how they have city stories in California faster than the people in California or in the United States get the stories. So they break stories. I'm like, how'd they get this? And it's like already out. They have the full story, details coming. And I'm like, but is it right or is it wrong? It's kind of like I've been in news business for 30 years, just for the record. So I've been in TV news, mainstream news media. And I always wondered how do some of these people get their stories so fast and so quickly. And many times they get it, it's wrong. And it's too late to, and here's a good example. So I once did a story about fake monks. I call them faux monks coming to San Francisco. And it was a big story for me. It was like, oh, these monks come from China. And then one day I wake up and they go, hey, did you hear that the Chronicle broke a story about the fake monks? And I go, did they really? I look at the story they broke and it was my story. No, when I say my story, I mean literally my story. They were using my video, my voice, and AP picked it up and said that the Chronicle broke this huge story. So I call up the Chronicle, and I call up the AP, and I go, hey, how is it they getting credit for the story that I did? They go, can you prove it? And I go, well, yeah, that's my voice on the video.
Oh, wow.
And the other two women, there was two women. They were blonde hair and blue eyes. Do I sound like I have blonde hair or blue eyes? So they go, oh, but by then it was 8 hours into the show. So back to what we were saying about the list of people. Can you put the list back up for me again? So yep. Thank you. So, C-SPAN is pretty boring. I mean, you log on to C-SPAN, you're going to see somebody at a desk talking about random stuff, which I'll turn away from. NPR can be okay. Daily Wire, still have a question about that one. I don't know much about the Blaze. So somebody want to tell me about who the Blaze is?
That's
Blaze, Glenn Beck. That's Glenn Beck.
Yeah,
He owns that, and then he recruited a bunch of independent journalists, like YouTubers and stuff. I think Steven Crowder's with the Blaze.
He left.
Roaming Millennial.
He left.
Yeah.
Oh,
he left.
Yeah.
Steven,
I don't know all the backstory on it, but it seems like there was some drama there.
Well, Steven Crowder just recently left. The Tommy Lahren experiment was total cluster F. And then now he's got, the former journalist from ESPN and Fox Sports has a show on there now. I cannot remember his name to save my life. Depending on your perspective, he's either a hack or he's a brilliant genius. But either way, the Blaze is just not a source that you can depend on for, I'm surprised like somebody didn't also put Breitbart and maybe even Newsmax or what's the other one News Network or One American News or whatever. But Ivory, you pointed out the fact that, because this is where I wanted to get to real quick with this. I was the one who actually put in the Daily Wire and Breaking Points and the Young Turks. Those were my submissions, and I begged Allison to add them because not only is it a balance, as Ivory mentioned, but there's a lot of stuff that they just do wrong. Let me, real quick, Breaking Points, when Sagar and Crystal were on the Hill, they were kind of like, they were wonderful, they were amazing, and they were great, but they were a ship that was out of control, and there was somebody behind them holding the rudder or holding the steering wheel to keep them, straight. Now that they've went on their own, they just perpetuate so many lies and myths and misinformation, and it drives me batshit crazy. But Ivory, I did want to say thank you for that and pointing out that, hey, we're looking at it from both sides of the aisle.
I remember
Oh,
a story. I remember a story I did once, and this was when I worked in San Francisco. I found a tank in Union City, and I did a live stream. And I go, hey, look, this is something you don't see too often. And I was doing a story on illegal dumping. So here you find a huge tank, and I videotaped it at live stream, and I'm like, and this is how I lost faith in a lot of independent journalism, was because I did the live feed about the tank, which was just a regular tank that was going to be donated to a museum or some sort.
A regular tank?
A regular A1 tank, yeah.
The tank we all have, as one
Run of the mill everyday
one
tank,
So one day, I'm laying on the couch and I look up and there's a thing from one of these guys, and he says, "Look, they're staging tanks all around the country. There's proof." And I'm like, "That's my tank." How the heck is my tank a part of a coup to take over the U.S.?
Oh no!
See, there's a real incentive there though to get the clicks, and it's really hard to pull back and just go, I could sensationalize that story by saying this, or I could just tell the truth. It's really hard to not do that. But of course, that's what a lot of people will do.
That's a great point, and it's totally true. And that's that. I think because of that, I might have to vote one, all media. You can't trust all media. You just can't trust all media. You gotta, it's all about primary sources. Look at what they're citing, and that's really all you can do. I mean, obviously some are better than others, but so you can trust the ones you like, but verify. Trust but verify. So you really can't, totally trust anyone.
Well, everybody says just tell the truth. But when you tell the truth, no one listens. They'll listen to a lie quicker than they'll listen to the truth.
Yep.
Well, there's a lot of news out there. I mean, that's the thing. You can find news that's interesting instead of just making up news that is interesting, but it's false. You know what I mean? You got to look for it if you really want to find stories that are interesting. I guess that's my prerogative.
I don't say trust but verify. I say take it all with a grain of salt.
That's better saying. That's a better saying.
Yeah, that's really good.
Well,
even us. All of us.
Yes.
I always say
not us. We are always correct. Don't listen to Allison. We are always correct.
I'm always correct about Allison wine promo, definitely. But other than that,
okay. I was seeing. The comment section is saying Tim Pool should be in there. What's wrong with Tim? I like Tim.
Okay, I like Tim, but I would not consider Tim a news source or a news organization. I would just consider him more of a talking head, and you can make the argument that a lot of the nominees were talking heads, and I would listen to that. But I think Tim,
and that Civil War's coming.
Right, exactly.
It's coming.
Exactly.
It's just around the corner. You know, so like we all have our ways of, you know,
But they're
hyping up a
saying
story, but
he's hack who's like ripping people off. I'm like, what?
It's not ripping people off if you're quoting and citing the news stories that are being published. That's not
but he does cite his own stories. Like he'll go from timpool.com. Here's a news story.
No,
Dude,
I've not seen that.
Yes,
I mean,
like, here's a story that I wrote. It's clearly true.
Well,
right? Yes.
Hey, I'm just an analyst.
I'm just analyzing the stuff that I wrote. That's all.
I like Tim, but his
I'm
cronies
biased,
really
guys.
get on. Yeah, Tim Pool is the View on YouTube for me, so I just can't do it.
I'm biased because I like Glenn Beck because he put me on his show. Tim Pool's put me on his show. So a lot of these guys put me on their show. So I'm like, ugh. But TYT did not put me on their show. So the hell with them. The hell with them. The hell with them.
I come from the perspective that you could disagree with anybody and still have the conversation with them. I would have a conversation with Cenk Uygur if I was given the opportunity to. I don't think that opportunity will come to light. I mean, he only likes friendlies. I mean, that's kind of where but of course he does. So, I mean, everyone deserves criticism. Everybody should have criticism, and that goes to us as well. Like, we should be able to take that criticism and roll with it. And, you know, people say this or that about myself or other people, but at the end of the day, it's like, are we being true to the reason why we actually even do this in the first place? And I think that should be your motive.
I have a new statement for 2023. Not trust, but verify. Just verify.
Because, much better. Much better.
Because you cannot trust 90% of the stuff out there right now. Because many times I have went online, read something, and go, is this really true? And the average person that's online, they have the attention span of a dog chasing a squirrel. As soon as something changes, the dog goes a different direction. So they believe what they read. And I've been notorious, and I got shadow banned on TikTok because I went on there and they had all these ads for there was one ad that took my attention. It was literally for K Jewelers, and they had a 300% discount of some sort. And I realized that this was a fake. Wow. This was fake. And there was a bicycle thing on there where they said, we're selling our bikes for $300. Now, these were electric bikes that were running for $4,000. I called the company up and said, hey, I didn't know you were selling your bikes for $300. They go, we're not. Well, they are on TikTok because there's a count up set up that says you should buy our bikes at this discount. And it was your bikes. And I sent them the picture and they go, and so TikTok shadow banned me because I literally was calling them out for everything they did that was fake. And people believed it. And so it's the same thing with getting emails. People have been scammed every day on emails because they believe it to be true. And they don't check stuff like the URL, that's some random URL with a bunch of letters that doesn't even go anywhere. So the same thing with news. If you say something and you get it to the masses, and this is what I teach people, is that you really have to fight I'm trying to look at the word I'm looking for. You have to swim upstream to try to stop the misinformation, because once it's out there, you basically are fighting up a wave to try to fight back misinformation. Mm-hmm. And it's prevalent every single day that I'm almost don't even want to read stuff anymore because you don't know what's true and what's false. So again, it goes back to what I said before. Don't trust and verify, just verify, then go from that.
So are you voting number one then?
Yes, I'm going to go with one.
Yes. I'm gonna
hang on.
They already picked TYT, didn't they?
Well, they picked
they
TYT.
Picked TYT like an hour ago.
TYT already won.
I know, but still,
Allison, while we're talking, she's watching the Fauci movie. She's watching that while we're talking.
I have so many pieces of homework to bring up over the last 30 minutes. I keep trying to, but Bill, somebody, speaking of verifying and not trusting, Rakahara said, did Bill really say he's taking credit for putting TYT in the submissions? Because right here we see independent news organization you just can't trust. How do the Young Turks not take this category every year? So he's saying he submitted it and you're trying to take all the credit for it.
Considering I'm the one who invented these things and I'm the one, then I'm the one behind the one in 21-1. So
you heard it here. Bill invented award shows, everyone.
Thank you. Not misinformation. And if it came from Matt, then you know it's true.
Okay, and this is the picture that Disney made of Fauci. It was technically National Geographic, which people are saying has ties to the CIA. I can't confirm or deny that, but that's the picture we were talking about earlier, the the Fauci picture made by Disney. Okay, so we have our final 2 categories. Liar of the year. So let's go. I don't think I assigned these. Does anyone feel passionate about liar of the year, male or female?
I've got to take female. I've got to take female.
Right. Okay, please go ahead, Bill.
All right.
Oh wait, hang on. I'm gonna start the draw now for the winner. So remember, hashtag fake news. If you want to pick the winner for liar of the year, female. Go ahead, Bill.
All right. So the liar of the year female, and the nominees are Hillary Clinton, pronouns, which okay, sure. Karine Jean-Pierre.
I'm going with pronouns already.
I have Ursula von der Leyen, sounds like a porn star, and Nancy Pelosi. And I'm just throwing it in there, Sunny Hostin. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah, I meant to add the.
So
Ursula
Hillary Clinton,
is, the president of the EU or European Commission. Sorry.
Sure.
Is it the same? I don't know if it's the same, but
I'm really surprised that AOC didn't get on this list somewhere, but that's cool. All right. So Hillary Clinton, pronouns, Karine Jean-Pierre, KJP, James. There you go.
James with the win.
Do we have a winner? Let's see. Has anyone seen James? James, are you in the chat? James. Do I need to pull again? Let's see. Allison, you should run a misinformation contest. Miss Congeniality winner can be the contestant lying with the best smile. That's a good idea.
That'd be KJP. I mean, it would.
True. Okay, James S. Do we see James S? I'm thinking, should I pick again?
Yep.
Or do you guys have your picks that you want to say?
Sunny Hostin. It's the Sunny Hostin Award. I mean.
Well, I've got to say that Hillary Clinton should have been for the decade, and it should have been
the Lifetime Achievement
Pelosi
Award
for the century, right?
Lifetime Achievement
Award. Nancy Pelosi Lifetime Achievement Award.
So good. Lifetime Achievement Award.
I'll tell you why I say pronouns. If you want to hear why I say pronouns.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so I had a case where a person worked at a company and made the mistake of misrepresenting someone's gender by not using the right pronoun. So normally you'd be like, hey, I apologize. I didn't realize I made a mistake. But apparently they had to make an entire email to the entire company explaining that they made a mistake mispronouncing someone's emails. And they had to make a public statement to the entire company inner office email, or whatever you call it, email. And so, and to my opinion, that's when it gets out of control. When you literally have to go online and apologize to everybody in the company because you misrepresented someone's gender. I thought that was kind of weird.
We're waiting. I know Doug's in the chat. So Douglas Boone, who's the winner? Give us the winner. We have the list of finalists. I also agree. I like pronouns. I think it's funny. I think actually I might have put pronouns in. I can't remember who did pronouns, but I just like it because I don't know why it's female, because obviously pronouns can be different, but I just love it. I mean, just the whole like phenomenon of having to present your pronouns constantly, but then the sort of subversive counter movement against pronouns. Like now everyone makes memes like, I identify as a conspiracy theorist. My pronouns are told you so, like stuff like that. That's I like all that. Did Bill leave? Bill left because was he offended or something?
I think the thing that pronouns are actually more harmful for is not the people that they're being subjected onto, but the people that are subjecting people to their pronouns. So at the end of the day, people will eventually just end up avoiding these people that have their pronouns being forced onto them. So if somebody comes up to me and says, you have to use certain words when you converse with me, or else I'm going to get you in trouble. Well, trouble is the thing I want to avoid. So I'm just going to not speak with that person. I'm going to avoid them at all costs. I'm just going to, if a resume comes with pronouns on it, it's going right in the shredder. If
can't say that. Don't say that. You mean that you will give that resume the same respect you would give any other resume?
Yeah, unqualified.
There we go. Okay, it's fine. Yes, of course. Yes. Okay, yes.
That's it.
Yes.
So, sorry, but that's the case. Like what these people are doing by you people. But when people that use their pronouns or force themselves onto other people are doing is they're ostracizing themselves from society at writ large. Like anyone who just wants to be a normal functioning member of society and doing their own thing, somebody comes up and forces themselves on them, it's just nope. It's a big turnoff. People don't want to. People are risk averse, and if you look like a risk to them and their organization that they built up, then they're just not going to have you. And that's the end of the line for people that use pronouns. So they're lying to themselves if they think that it's helping them.
To be clear, Clyde, that's only in small companies, right? Big companies actually want that because it checks a box for them. So they actually go out of their way to pick someone like that. They go out of their way. Small businesses don't. The big company already has the infrastructure and the law to deal with those issues, and they have places to put people who are useless anyway because they're a big organization. If you're a small business, you can't afford it. One bad hire for a small organization will set an organization back by at least a year. 10 bad hires by government or by big business will mean nothing. Government goes out of its way to hire poorly. They go out of their way to find reasons to hire people who no one else will hire. I'm not making that up. I literally have trained the departments here in New York City. They literally go out of their way to hire people no one else will hire. So it depends upon what organization you're in. Big, they love it. Small, you are correct.
Well, I might have to apply for a government job because nobody wants to hire me anymore.
They'll hire you, guaranteed. Go to a government agency.
They fired me, Larry. They fired me.
Government agency within a big city and and apply.
My boss is going to run for governor. She's in the Seattle area. It's a big city. I got fired from my podcast.
So let's go backwards for 1 second. Because remember, before it was pronouns, it was they hired by your race. So they need to hire a lot of more minorities. Now, I started a news business in LA back in the 90s where they hired a lot of people with Spanish surnames because they had to fill a quota of Spanish workers. The irony of it was that some of the people they hired weren't even Spanish, couldn't even speak Spanish, but they had a Spanish surname.
They checked the box.
So they were hired to be on TV because of their name. They still never hired like minorities because they just went around with the name. The name is what gave it away. And not the actual, they never came in to say, hey, I remember they came once to do a race check at when I worked for KTLA. They literally had someone come in to check to see who their employees were. And they wanted to make sure that they wanted to make sure that I stood out there so they knew they had hired a black person, even though I was per diem. So I watched this now. It's like, and now we're just moving forward to, it's now a whole different thing. My pronoun on LinkedIn is News Honey Badger. So, call me News Honey Badger. That's my pronoun.
If you look at what used to happen in the law firms here in New York City, it's not as bad now, but it used to be. They would say, "Oh no, we have tons of people of color, working for us in the law firm." They go, "Great, where are they? I don't see any." "Oh, they're all in the mailroom."
Yeah,
that's what happened. You'd find everybody in the mailroom is either Hispanic or black. All the lawyers are not. And they'd have like one black lawyer, like he's the guy, right? Okay, see, there's the black lawyer we use whenever we have to go to the press. We use the black lawyer. Everyone else works in the mailroom. So yeah, the checking a box is a big deal for large organizations.
So funny story, San Francisco, there was a protest outside. No one knew what they were protesting. So someone said, they must be protesting. We don't have any black employees. So one of the managers said, you should go down there and say hi to them. I'm like, why?
Yes.
And it turns out they were protesting a different thing, but a union that wasn't even associated with our station. But because there was a protest, by default, people drew the conclusion that it must be because we don't have any black people. And or if you go in any newsroom right now, you won't see black people unless you go on the weekend, because all the black people work on the weekends or the overnight shifts. They don't work they used to didn't work your standard shifts. So remember, 30 years of me in TV, I noticed a lot, like for and getting off, not getting too far off subject. I had a conversation once because they used to say stuff like in the news, when they were trying to refer to a black person, they would say, if you committed a crime, you were black. But if you did something really great, you were African-American. So, it's like if you robbed somebody, you were black. But if you got elected to an office, the first African-American in office. And I said, do you guys even realize you do that? They go, do we really? I go, yes, you do. So this was, 20 years ago, I was talking about it.
I like that. We lost Allison. I think she's off. You know what she's doing?
She's eating. She didn't want anybody to see her eat off camera.
No, she's watching the Fauci thing. That's what she's doing right now. She's watching the Fauci thing. Right now.
I accidentally muted Matt, not myself. I was muting myself because I wanted to check and make sure my babysitter was okay to stay an extra like 10 minutes or so I could finish the show.
So,
Sorry about that. Okay, let's go to our final category, which is what is it? Liar of the Year Male. Who wants to read Liar of the Year Male? And as you read it, I'm going to draw the winner. Let's just draw the winner real fast so that we know who we're looking for, and then we can read the finalists.
I'm more than happy to read it, but I don't have it on my
T.
screen.
Mark
T.
T.
Mark T. Okay, who wants to read?
I'll do it, but you got to put it up again. So the Liar of the Year for male, number 1, Fauci. Number 2, Biden. Number 3, the FBI. Number 4, Chuck Schumer. And number 5, Mitch McConnell.
Okay. Mark T, are you in the chat? Mark T, I'm going to close my door. What do you guys think? I go with the FBI.
It's that or Fauci. It's got to be FBI or Fauci. It just has to be. Those two are just so obvious to me.
Mark
I mean,
T.
anyone who's a politician in that is just, I mean, that's just a given. They're just the liar.
Yeah,
of
it
the
is.
Century, right?
Yes.
Although I do want to say,
Mitch
I'm going to
McConnell.
comment
We have a lot of Fauci's
on
here.
the last list, because yes, politicians, all the politicians on the list, politicians are liars, right? But they have other things on their, work description, like, all right, executive orders, vetoes, whatever you're providing. But as far as White House press secretary Karine Jean-Pierre, I would say that she was the biggest liar of 2020. That's all the White House, press speaker does. That's all they do is lie. And anyways, she lived up to her title. As far as the new ones, I don't know. Let's see the list for the male.
I'm gonna draw again because I don't think Mark T's here. So let's see. Let's go through the list one more time, and I'll go back to the finalists. Who's it going to be? Who's it going to be?
Well, we know the FBI they called
Rob,
everybody a conspiracy theorist after their theories were validated with the Twitter files. Everyone already knows Fauci's lies. We've talked about a bunch already.
Jesse, are you in the chat? Jesse
MacArthur is in the chat. Yeah,
he is. Okay, or she? Okay, yes, Jesse's girl. You know what's funny? When I was in high school, I dated a guy named Jesse, and then I dated his best friend, JR, right after I dated Jesse. And it was very dramatic for my small 38-person high school graduating class. And we decided for the pre-prom fashion show, which is a stupid thing that we used to do, I walked with him to Jesse's Girl, the song, and which was it was really in bad taste, but we did it anyway. And his mom was very upset.
Oh, you really wanted to stick it to Jesse, huh?
I took it to Jesse.
Oh, man.
Oh, well, sorry. But then I got dumped by JR because he cheated on me with his ex-girlfriend. So it came full circle. Like the karma definitely came full circle. Okay, do we have...
Yeah, Jesse says, I especially dislike rhinos, and then goes with Fauci.
That wasn't a choice. Was that a choice?
It was Fauci.
He went with Fauci. Yeah.
Fauci? I don't see...
All right. I think that's a good decision. That's totally...
Liars or the rhinos? He just can add that in. No, Joe Biden. He says, no, that was a different person.
That's no, Joe Biden.
Jesse, my internet keeps cutting out. Help us, Jesse. Trying to end the show, Jesse. Guy.
All right.
We have a couple of
I'm going to have to run, guys. It's past 8 p.m. where I am. I'm going to have to take off.
We're going to wrap it. I think we're going to call it Fauci because that's what everybody seems to be wanting. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for the presenters. Thank you to everybody in the chat. We really appreciate it. I guess we'll see you in 202023, right?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
God willing.
Good meeting all of you guys.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.